I had such a fun time comparing Adora and Azula in my last video that I started thinking about other characters that act as parallels. In particular, I like finding characters that go through a similar experience but react quite differently, and then analyzing why. Initially, I wanted to make a video comparing Vi and Gwen, but the more I worked on that script, the more I realized I was just restating opinions that I had heard in other YouTubers' videos, and I don't want to do that. So instead, I pivoted and I went in a wildly different direction. Now listen, I know this is a strange pairing, but that's what makes it fun, so stick with me here as I get into this. The first traumatic event that happens to these girls occurs at around the same age. Vi and Powder's parents are killed by enforcers, and Elsa accidentally strikes Anna with her ice powers, knocking her out and potentially endangering her life. Now, I know these events can't really be compared evenly, because we can say that what happened to Elsa and Anna didn't result in anyone's death or permanent injury, whereas Vi and Powder lost their parents and clearly saw their dead bodies on that bridge. But what I can say is that within their respective narratives, both sets of girls have experienced their first major trauma, and it has affected them in the opposite way. In Arcane's bridge scene, Powder is very young, and the way she behaves in that moment implies that she's not really fully processing what's happening. But Vi clearly understands what's happened and is absolutely distraught. In the final moments, she looks up at Piltover, the city that kills her parents, and glares. Elsa is also extremely distraught when she injures Anna. When her parents enter the room, they immediately blame her, and even after Anna is healed, Elsa blames herself for the accident and is scared to hurt her sister again. Both girls have experienced the fear of losing people they love, but they learned different lessons. Vi learned that she must protect her sister from the world. Elsa learned that she must protect her sister from herself. After this event, the elder sisters have opposite relationships with their younger siblings. Vi takes on a parental role for Powder, trying to simultaneously protect her and teach her how to be strong and survive. The problems that threaten Vi are external. Piltover, enforcers, dangerous people in the lanes, and Vi wants to protect Powder from that. Whereas on the other hand, Elsa completely blocks her sister out, doesn't play with her or spend any time with her at all. Elsa's problems are internal. She's afraid of hurting her sister or anyone else, so her solution is isolation. Another important piece of context for the sisters' behaviors is their parental figures during this time, so let's examine them. Elsa is raised by her mother and father, who reinforce the idea that her powers are dangerous and need to be controlled. I already mentioned that they immediately assumed she hurt Anna, and they also tell her to wear gloves and hide her powers. They're trying to protect her, but they just end up making her more afraid. Vi and Powder are taken in by Vander, who takes on a fatherly role for them, particularly for Vi. Vander reinforces the idea that Vi is responsible for the actions of those who look up to her, meaning her sister and her adopted brothers. In a heart-to-heart, he tells her that because these kids look up to her, whatever happens to them is on her. This, of course, ends up taking an absolutely heartbreaking turn, as Vi internalizes and blames herself for everything that her sister does from this point on. The second major trauma that I want to touch on occurs when the girls are a little older. And keep in mind at this point, Elsa and Anna are older teenagers, nearly adults, while Vi and Powder are still children. Elsa has run away from home and built a palace where she intends to live out the rest of her life, completely alone. Anna comes to try and convince her to return home. The sisters can't communicate, and in a moment of being overwhelmed, Elsa accidentally strikes Anna with her powers. Again. And if Elsa's fear and tendency to self-isolate weren't already fully cemented, she's just hurt her sister in the exact same way, the very first time her sister tried to get close to her. Vi and her adoptive brothers are trying to rescue Vander from the men who took him. Vi explicitly tells Powder to stay behind and avoid the danger. Powder, wanting to help, sets off one of her bombs inside the building, killing Vander and her adopted brothers. Among the wreckage and the flames, Vi realizes that her sister killed their entire family. Horrified and angry, Vi screams at her sister and slaps her hard enough to knock her to the ground. Stepping away to cool down, Vi is then kidnapped and prevented from returning to her sister, though it is important to note she does try. Vi and Elsa are similar in many ways. They're defined in their stories by their relationship to their sister and their desire to protect her. They're the strong, responsible one, compared to their wild and somewhat reckless younger sister. They don't know how to handle their sister when she's grown up. After all, they barely know her. Vi and Elsa are extremely similar, but the differences in their upbringing and traumas are what causes them to react in very different ways. Thank you so much for watching. I really only scratched the surface of this topic, but because I'm still new to editing and making videos, I didn't want to make this too long, but I would love to do longer analysis videos in the future. I'm also really sorry that it's been a while since my last upload. I was on vacation for a week, and then I got sick for a few weeks, and then I had my wisdom teeth out and I couldn't talk, so it's been rather chaotic recently for me. But hopefully I'll be speedier with the next video. I'm thinking about making another video for the newest episode of The Amazing Digital Circus. Once again, thank you for watching. Feel free to leave a comment if you have any thoughts on Vi and Elsa, or any suggestions for other characters that you'd like to hear me compare. Again, it means the entire world to me if even just one person watches. I hope you have a lovely day.